Okay, so this label had quite a bit of stuff going on it, so I just went ahead and made a spreadsheet. It seemed to be the easiest way to kind of visualize it. So I split it into three main groups, and so I have in here like the standard units. So this is kind of unusual for a lot of those sorts of supplement labels. Generally speaking, they tend to only have percent or ppm, but since they did have quite a bit of standard units, and I made sure to double check, vitamin A and D both said USP. It said that in most cases USP is identical to IU, so I just went ahead and changed all of these to IU because that's how you would enter it in Pet Diet Designer. So how I did this basically, so it was giving you the nutrient per 1 pound, and so 1 pound, um, if you multiply 1 pound by, here, let me see if I can show you this, the equation here, if you multiply 1 pound by 0.220462, you'll get the amount of that nutrient for 100 grams. And so when you're creating a recipe in Pet Diet Designer, the default amount that it's just easiest to take and run with is 100 grams. And I did all the other numbers with 100 grams. So that's kind of how I recommend you do this. So I did the same thing here. So we had 175,000 IU multiplied by 0.22 gives you this 38,580 approximately IU, and you could probably round these numbers up. It's when in Excel it just goes ahead and does floating point math here. And so same thing here. So and keep note of the units here. The units are going to stay the exact same because we're literally just dividing down the exact value with the given unit. We're not doing any kind of unit conversion here. So when you're entering in Pet Diet Designer, I believe you have the option to enter in IU, milligrams, and micrograms. So just keep in mind these units here, and I'd be happy to send you the spreadsheet as well so that you have it. So for like milligram ones, we've got 3,000 milligrams of vitamin K. Again, we multiply that by 0.220462, and we're going to get approximately 661 milligrams of vitamin K in 100 grams of the supplement. So hopefully this one's pretty clear. It was mostly just simple multiplication or division, however you want to, process 1 pound down to 100 grams. However you like to do that. Okay, so moving on to the percents. The percents are super easy, especially when we're working with 100 grams. That's why, generally speaking, I default all of my math for a label to 100 grams to just kind of make it uniform across the board. So when you're working with percents, it just translates straight over. So there's 0.683% magnesium in this supplement. So if you have 100 grams, you're going to have 0.683 grams. So hopefully that makes sense. Pretty easy conversion on all of these guys. So when you're entering in Pet Diet Designer, when you're asked about magnesium or any of these other guys that are in percents, you can just go ahead and convert them straight over and make sure that you're putting them in grams, because that's we're doing grams per 100 grams basically. So that's how we're analyzing percents here. Okay, so now on to ppm. There's only a few of the ppm values in here, but I'll just go ahead and explain to you kind of the math. So ppm, I find it's really not difficult to get in 100 grams just straight off the bat. You just remove a couple zeros off of the equation, but whenever I think of ppm, I'm automatically thinking, okay, if I want to do something in milligrams per 1 gram, I'm going to be dividing by 1,000. So 2,300 ppm, if I'm looking at iron in 1 gram of supplement and it's got 2,300 ppm, I divide that by 1,000. Oh, it doesn't have the equation up there. So 2,300 divided by 1,000, and I'm going to get 2.3 milligrams, and that's in 1 gram of supplement. So that's what all of these are. So milligrams per 1 gram. Then just to carry that over to the really nice Pet Diet Designer formula, multiply that by 100, and you get 230 milligrams of iron per 100 grams of supplements. So hopefully that makes sense. Some people just like to skip that middle step and just say, okay, if I want milligrams per 100 grams, I just divide by 10. It is that is easier when you say it out loud like that, but for me, I'm always processing like ppm stuff in very small amounts because that's generally how I feed supplements are in grams rather than 100 grams. But in the context of Pet Diet Designer, it does make sense to convert it to 100 grams. So hopefully this makes sense. Feel free to PM me any more questions, and let me know if you have any trouble entering this in Pet Diet Designer.